Hello, and you're very welcome back to the Public Eye Business Podcast, brought to you by Granite Exchange. I'm your host, Sarah Travers, and throughout this series I'll be speaking with local entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about how their companies have come to be, to gain insight into their growth, and find out how they continue to innovate. So wherever you get your podcasts from, remember to keep an eye out for all new episodes and subscribe to stay up to date. So today I'm joined by father and son duo Michael Gilsenan, Managing Director, and his son Jack, Senior Dispensing Optician from Lee Opticians. This is actually our first father-son duo. So Michael and Jack, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Very well, thank you, Sarah.
It's lovely to see you. Now, before we begin, I'm just going to give a little bit of background on Michael, Jack and their family business. So Lee Opticians are an award-winning family business with modern practices in Warrenpoint, Crossmaglen and Camla. They have just celebrated 75 years in business and have state-of-the-art technology to offer the highest standard of professional service. So Michael has been in business for over 40 years and is recognised for being the first optician optometrist in Ireland to gain a school vision diploma. He also runs a visual stress clinic where he sees and treats children who are underachieving in education. So we'll be chatting a little bit more about that. Now, Jack has been working for his dad as the senior dispensing optician for the past 7 years, although qualified for the past 10. The whole team at Lee Opticians are dedicated to providing a personal, caring, high-quality service in a friendly, patient-driven practice where the focus is definitely on you. So Michael and Jack, it is so lovely to be with you today. I want to ask you a little bit about the Lee Opticians, first of all. Where does that name come from?
Okay. The Lee originally was a Michael Lee, who started up business originally as a pharmacist. And somewhere along the line, he converted to, or he did an ophthalmic qualification where he was able to train and provide a service as an optician. So he opened up a place in Newry and Warrenpoint, and towards the end of his retirement, I started working with him, and he offered me a partnership before he retired, and then that's how it started. Michael Lee was a very dapper man. Very often he would come in to work with a mustard suit with a daffodil in his lapel.
Love it.
So he was a very very dapper man. So loads of character and personality.
And what did you learn from him?
I think I probably he was just a very good communicator with everybody, and I suppose the best thing that he taught me was to be exactly the same with everybody, you know, regardless of who they were or their social status or whatever. So that's probably what I would like to think I was, and probably I know Jack is the same. Absolutely.
And so, Michael, what, I suppose, drove you into this industry in the first place?
I suppose my own poor sight as a child was I had a squint as a child, and I was in and out of. First of all, I got an operation when I was 7, and then I really in and out of opticians all my life. And whenever I came to do my A levels, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I came across a course, Dispensing Optician, which was in London, and I applied for it and I got on the course, and that's basically how I started.
Isn't that so interesting that it took something that happened to you as a child? And that operation, I'm sure at that young age, that must have been quite traumatic, was it?
Well, squint operations, you know, when you're 7 or 8 years of age, probably would have been more traumatic then. It's not so much now, but it's one of those things that a lot of children sort of have in their early years. But it can be, children even nowadays that, when I'm working with them, it can be a reason why it can hold them back in schoolwork and so forth that maybe isn't looked at enough.
Yeah, I absolutely want to come back and talk to that a bit more, because it's lovely that you're doing that, and it's amazing how that early intervention and the correct manner and correct way can probably change the future for that young person. So first of all, let's talk to your son, Jack. Jack, you followed into the business and followed your father's footsteps. Why?
Yeah. I think it's just something. It was definitely just growing up, dinner times, and just hearing how Dad's day went, and definitely more so when he started the clinic that he does with the school vision, took an interest in that, and as sort of probably about 15 or 16, went in actually on a Saturday just into the workshop to make the glasses, and always felt that I was sort of helping him out and stuff like that, so that's where the interest would have started, really.
Was he, Michael?
Yeah, well, at least he proved very, very worthwhile for us to have, and even now he's been a fantastic asset to the business, not only to help with me, but as a business going forward. So very delighted to have him.
And Jack, whenever you come in and you bring that youthful exuberance, what do you see as the things that you need to be moving towards? What do you help your dad with in terms of modernising the business?
Probably one thing that I've taken a big approach with within work is actual stock frames. I went in, not that there was anything wrong with what was there in the first place, but I thought, nowadays, brands are a big thing within optics. There's your brands such as Pradas and your Gucci's, but there's also brands that would only be fairly well known within optics, which we had a lot of. But I thought a bit more brands, and we definitely see that now with more people interested in the brands more so than the not so well known brands.
It's big business. It's one of those things, people are still needing glasses, and they've become such a fashion accessory. Nearly those who don't need glasses are wishing that they did. But how do you stand out from your competitors, especially because we've got a cost of living crisis at the minute, and it's not cheap when you need glasses?
No, I think that's where we, fall in quite nicely, actually, is that, we would offer very much patient first approach. We're very our service, very personal, and I feel that we would have, we're a place that would have an option for all sort of levels of budgets, through complete NHS stuff, or to the people who fancy treating themselves, prescription sunglasses, and but I definitely, from when I first started, I definitely see how 1-to-1 we are with our patients.
And that's lovely, and that really comes across, Michael.
Yeah, it does, and we also have to be very grateful for our entire staff, who from the moment sort of people go in through the front door, they're greeted by a very competent and capable receptionists, and we try our best. All the staff try our best for the business, and I know, from the point of view of professional staff, clinical staff, and reception staff, we would feel that we have staff that's second to none.
I mean, there are other opticians out there that are offering all sorts of things like 2 for 1. And is that, do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, you definitely do feel the pressure. But I think we've never really tried to compete against, we've just stuck to our guns and tried to provide a good professional service. We've kept up to date with equipment, and as Jack was saying, that our stock of frames, and it's also very good to have somebody like Jack coming in who's very young and enthusiastic. And as you get older, it's harder to put the enthusiasm into a business. It's very hard nowadays in business to be on top of everything. So it's great to have help, youthful help.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about the work that you do with young people. As I said in the introduction, you were recognised as being the first optician or optometrist in Ireland to gain a school vision diploma. How did that come about?
Well, I suppose going back about 20 years ago, I always sort of took an interest in children who were sort of underachieving in school. And that really came from maybe number one, myself, and secondly, I would be very often asked by parents, is there nothing you guys can do to help their children, because they knew they weren't doing as well as they should have done. And then after that, we opened up what we call a visual stress clinic, where we would see children who are underachieving because of maybe undetected visual issues.
And does that work on a referral basis, or do parents bring the children?
Well, I suppose over a period of time it has been word of mouth, but it can be other optometrists, from teachers, occupational therapists, speech and language therapists. I can't really say. I suppose the most referral direction would be from word of mouth, really, over a number of years.
So tell us exactly, sorry I interrupted you there, the visual stress clinic, how does that work?
So when a young person gets their eyes tested, there would be a sort of a battery of tests that would be done to make sure the health of that child's eyes is good. Secondly, to detect any long-sightedness, short-sightedness, which would be the standard thing if you needed glasses. And thirdly, to make sure the muscles of your eyes are working well. But there are a number of other visual issues, like eye movements and how the eyes work together. We mentioned earlier on about squints. A child that has undetected visual issues will be at a disadvantage, and in some cases a significant disadvantage with other children in school. And I suppose to further that, there's very poor communications between our profession and the education profession. So if a child can't see properly, he's not going to learn properly. So that's really the assessment that I do is not an eye test as such. It's an eye test plus other things. And
how much has this changed from, I'm thinking years ago, you would have had a school nurse and people came in and did they look after the eye tests as well in school, and has that gone completely now? No, it hasn't gone. When a child goes into primary school, they will be seen by a school nurse, and mainly they definitely will be looking for squints and lazy eyes, but it's not an eye test. Now the school nurse does a huge amount of good work, but it's my advice really to any parent would be to have the child's eye test as soon as possible, and regular eye tests as well, from 5 years of age up to 10 years of age, every year, and more if the optometrist recommended it.
This podcast is sponsored by Granite Legal Services, a niche business law practice located in the heart of Newry City. We provide legal advice and representation to individuals and companies alike across a wide range of industries on an assortment of legal matters which can affect a business, such as corporate, commercial, employment, dispute resolution, regulatory and compliance. We focus on providing legally sound, commercial and practical advice to our clients. To get in touch, contact 028 30 262200 or visit www.granatelegalservices.co.uk to find out more about the firm and our services.
So what difference do you see, or what difference does it make to a child when their eyesight is corrected?
Well, a number of years ago I did a project in a school, and it was a screening project in the school, and there were 27 P5 children, and there were only 2 that were wearing glasses, and when the project was finished there were 13 more needed glasses.
Gosh.
So and it's just something that's very often overlooked if a child is underachieving in school. And the test that I do is it's looking like things like eye movements. So if a child has poor eye movements, it's very, they are generally would be the child that might use their finger or won't use their finger or lose their place when they're reading, or jump words or actually not even see the words because of other issues.
And how much of your work is centred around that and the young people?
Well, I probably would be doing the equivalent of about 2 days a week now. And I've done, we've done a sort of probably what I would like to do when I retire is finish off a research project that I started a number of years ago and haven't finished. But it's just something that I would have a passion for, and Lee Opticians would have a passion for as well.
And Jack, you must be very proud of your dad, and having that sense of purpose and that sense of wanting to make a difference. What do you see from your customers whenever they come in and the eyesight has improved, the schoolwork's improved? That must be lovely.
Yeah, it's following the journey from all those years ago that I still know the first patient that Dad did this visual stress clinic with. It's fascinating, even from the moment you're speaking to someone, even on the phone, and you're talking about what work's done, and what the visual stress, what it involves, to seeing the parent that day. Best way it describes, in some cases, pure flabbergasted at the difference.
Is that right?
Yeah,
and for the child too.
Yeah, and a lot of children they're sort of innocent to it all. That what they see is normal, and then when they either get this coloured lens or eye exercises advised, and when they see things improved, like they're different people, and it's. You do be proud that it's Dad that's put so much time and effort into, basically changing children's lives, really.
And then, Michael, what's the research project that you're going to try and get finished?
Well, just to further add to what Jack was saying there, I think it's when an awful lot of children see that they have a visual issue that has been undetected, it's a big confidence builder for them.
Mm-hmm.
They realise it's not very often children feel that they're stupid or whatever. So it's a big confidence builder for them to see that there is something going on that's not their fault. And it's also it's mind blowing for the parent to understand that there's something here that's maybe that we haven't seen before.
Well, I'm sure that's so interesting to so many people tuning in today, and even interesting to hear how eye exercises, not necessarily always glasses or an operation, but eye exercises could make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, Jack, tell us what else you do at Lee's then. So it's not just children.
No, we obviously do, contact lenses, your sunglasses, things like that. But probably the newest and most in my time, the very exciting thing now is just with the advancements of technology is a night lens.
A night lens.
Yeah. So, but best way to describe it is a contact lens that is sort of tailor made for you through what the technology is the scan that we would do. And this lens is made that the patient wears at night time and then takes it out in the morning and their vision's corrected.
I can't get my head around that. So when you're sleeping, your vision is correcting.
Yeah.
How does that work? In layman's terms.
Yeah. So basically the front of the lens is designed for the patient. So the lens is matching the curvature of the patient's eye. So when they sleep, the lens is actually flattens the front of the eye, and then that's altering, changing the vision back to perfect vision. Now it is only suitable for those who are short-sighted, so like minus prescription because of the shape of the eye. But no, it's gone very well.
But you'd have to, you have to wear the contact lenses every night.
Okay.
So if
you're training the eye.
Yeah. So, but it's a sort of a long-term thing. So, if you took the night lenses out and left them out, you would return to your normal short-sightedness after a period of time.
So it's a bit like a retainer for a teeth. You have to keep
exactly that.
And can you train it, or is it something that you wear forever?
It's something that you wear forever.
Forever, okay. It just becomes something.
But it means that throughout the day, though, you can
be contactless.
Yeah.
Contact lens free. That would be amazing for people. Yeah. Have you brought that in yet?
Yeah, I think we're about, what month are we in now?
6 months.
Yeah, I'd say about 6 months in. So it's, it's a wee bit like what Dad does in a way. It's mind blowing to people that, top of my head, there's a lad that was in and glasses and football, he plays football but didn't like the goggles and tried the contact lenses and loved the idea of the contact lenses but struggled a wee bit putting them in and out. And then,
it's a hassle, isn't it?
And then got this night lens, so when he's asleep, maybe less aware that while he's asleep he's wearing it, but the smile on his face, the first night that he wore them was fantastic to see.
Really? So it was, even after that one night he saw a difference?
Yeah, some people can see a difference with one night, just depending on the prescription, but no, it's mind blowing.
That is absolutely fascinating. Would that be quite pricey?
No.
Compared to having your contact lenses?
No, there wouldn't be too much in it, to be honest.
And then if you're playing sport, that must give such freedom.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Amazing. So that's, I suppose, a lot of people are looking at maybe laser surgery, but this is something that you're able to offer and something different. So this is the big trend at the minute.
Yeah, it's just with the way they've improved technology, gives people people are in control. Whether
I think it's going to be a big trend.
And will you ever see it being offered to those who are long-sighted or with different prescriptions?
We're probably the wrong people to ask, but I don't see why not. But it's early days yet.
Innovation and advancements. Yeah. It's just incredible where you're heading next. What about those people who seem to have a different pair of glasses to match every single outfit? Yeah. They're a real fashion statement.
They are. They really are, and people. We do have people who, there's some people who like buying shoes. There's handbags, football boots. There is people. We would get regular people who, would be in, 2 or 3 times a year, just because they're wearing, more so when people are wearing them all the time, really they're not going to be wearing the same coat every day. People do like having the option of various colours and styles.
And I suppose that's been the same throughout history. You've had all sorts of, even monocles, all sorts of things. And I know my mum was recently in getting her eyes tested, and she needed new glasses. And the whole Deirdre Barlow look was all back in. And I sort of said, Mum, I don't know really whether that's the look for you. But the young ones are all going back to the sort of 70s looks. You've maybe seen them before, Michael.
Yeah, certainly the Deirdre Barlow look years ago was just phenomenal. Every single person was getting,
and the glasses took up the whole face, really.
But Jack probably wouldn't remember that, but I...
Yeah, I remember that too.
But yeah, it's just different trends, you know, and then, you know...
So are they back?
I think so, yeah. But, and the Deirdre Barlow range, there was one of the frames that she wore, it was available in something like 30 different colours, you know, at the time. But
is that right?
Yeah.
So, it was like the Jennifer Aniston haircut, the Deirdre Barlow glasses. Right, they were just such a fashion statement. And then it was like, nobody should ever wear those again. And then they've come back.
Well, we would try to get over, there's always like an optical show over at the XL in London. Yeah. Around February time, I think. And the differences you see even in a year it's quite mad actually how designers of frames can, you know, change the look or add stuff to bigger, smaller, rounder, more square. Yeah.
Have you got a favourite make or design or?
I like Gucci and Tom Ford probably, personally.
Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
You don't know.
I don't. Well, Ray-Bans are always very popular. You know, young people. Tom Ford, definitely. Yes. We would do a lot of Tom Ford glasses, sunglasses. But there's so many different makes nowadays, and as Jack has said earlier on about the different brands. But there are different brands to suit different age groups as well. So that's very important.
And I wish everybody could actually see you because you've both got beautiful frames on. We'll take a picture and we'll put it up on our social media so people can go and check out your glasses. What's it like working together, Jack?
Yeah, look, I love it. You know,
Michael's now shaking his head.
No,
your body language is not matching your message there, Jack.
No, it is unusual. You know, a lot of my friends and stuff, you know, their bosses or people maybe they don't really know.
They can get away from.
Yeah. But no, I think like at dinner and stuff, in the house, we tried not to talk too much of work.
So you live together as well?
Well, I'm married there last year, so
you've flown the nest now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, it is good, and I love being able to get Dad's advice has been a big thing for me, with regards to everything, and then work as well. Like, so having Dad, especially not in the house now, and then getting to see Dad every day is definitely a bonus of working with him now as well. And
then seeing him in a different way than Dad, you know, seeing him as someone that you really admire and respect. And, you know, Northern Ireland is built on family businesses. Is this something that you look forward to developing going forward?
Yeah, like I've huge passion. I would have a huge passion for continuing what Dad's done and where Dad's taken the practices. You know, and I'm just fascinated. I was always fascinated with business in itself, but just seeing what Dad's done with Lee's itself, just looking very excited what the future does hold.
And Michael, you've already talked. You mentioned the R word, the retirement word. But you know, how long do you think you'll be staying at the helm, and at what point do you step back a little bit?
It's hard to say, but just going back on what you were saying there about working with it's actually very good for a parent to work with their son.
Why?
Well, I think they bring in, you know, they see things that maybe I wouldn't notice. They have certainly Jack has has a huge enthusiasm for the business, and it takes the pressure off me, and it gives me more enthusiasm, to help out, but also as well to realise that it's a fantastic feeling to know that the business is going to continue on.
Yeah.
So
how many children do you have?
4.
4.
So 3 girls.
Was this always something that you'd hoped would happen?
Well, you don't like to push any of your children into any profession, but I think Jack from a very early age did show an interest in optics, and he was helping out in the, as he said earlier on, in the workshop, and he did other things, but he probably has seen where, as you get a little bit older, you get a little, not as much tired. It's very hard to, as an older person, to sort of run the business. There's an awful lot of things that are very difficult, running the staff and, HR and everything else that goes with it. And so it's a business like ours needs, young people sort of to bring it on. So retirement probably, hopefully very soon, but I'd still want to work in the school vision end of things for another 2 or 3 years.
Oh yes, there's still a lot of work to do there. How big a team do you have?
We have, well, by July, I think we'll have 15 or 16.
Gosh, it's really growing.
Yeah.
And is that part of the plan?
It is it's definitely part of the plan. Within the last year, well, I actually say probably after COVID, it's really taken off and not eased. So it's definitely from COVID you felt that although we haven't been literally short-staffed, it feels that we are now because of just how busy, the 3 practices have become. So between January of this year and July of this year, we'll have added 4 professional staff, which is, it allows, it allows the flow of the business to work better as well.
Absolutely. And how popular would you say this is as a career at the minute? Because I know other sectors are struggling to recruit staff.
It would be very popular career at the minute, but having said that, it's been very difficult recruiting these 4 people.
Why is that?
Just,
is it the local nature as well? Is it finding people in the area?
Yeah, probably that.
I think all our staff as well too, are local.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like a lovely job, and then you're able to stay in this beautiful area as well.
Yeah,
so there's a lot to be said for it.
Yeah.
So maybe if there's anybody tuning in today, or they have young ones and they're yet to decide on a career path, why would you sell this as a career path?
It's a very, very nice career for male or female. There's a little bit of everything in it. There's a bit of management. There's a bit of fashion. There's a bit of business. There's a medical end of it. It's actually a much broader field than you would think. Whether it's you become a sort of a medical doctor who's trained in eyes, or you become an optometrist or an orthoptist, who's the person who works in a hospital dealing with children with squints. There's a big area of research as well too, so it's a much bigger field than people would imagine.
And different lengths of time to complete the different qualifications as well. Well, it does sound very exciting. You're also award-winning. Tell us about some of the things that you've been doing.
Most recently, we were very lucky to be shortlisted last year at the Newry Chamber of Commerce Awards, and then we won Best Health Practice. So we were very proud to be recognised, because of all the hard work over the years, and again, just where Dad's brought Leeds. It's on a night like that, it's great, for a room full of people to be walking up with your name on the screens and, just recognised as being with an award.
And what do you think Michael Lee would make of what you've actually done? And have you any plans to change the name at any point?
I don't think so. Well, I suppose it'll be up to whenever I retire. Well, Jack and one of the optometrists in the practice, Brian McKibben, will be taking over. But I would think that the name is good, and it'd be. It's very hard to change if a business has been the same name for 75 years. It's a bit like the Big Pen. It's exactly the same, whatever.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
And Jack's nodding his head there. So no plans to change.
No, I think it would. No, I think it definitely wouldn't do that. Just Lee Opticians itself is renowned in the South Down, Holy Down, South Armagh areas as, very well established practice. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Michael, you must be so proud of all the awards you're winning.
I suppose the award that probably should mention was we got UK Dispensing Optician of the Year in 2012.
Wow, that is incredible!
But,
congratulations.
And it was for work done with the school vision.
So where did you go for that?
It was in London. So,
fabulous. Yeah. Michael, how much have you seen what you do and the way you work change over the last 40 years?
The biggest change really is technology. Scanning machines for the back of your eye, equipment for making spectacle lenses, the precision. One of the things that we certainly noticed this last 10 years or so, would be the amount of people that have dry eye because of maybe using computers a lot.
Right, really?
Yeah, not air conditioning in cars, not blinking enough. But there's certainly been a huge transformation in visual problems because of screens and iPads and so forth.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So we would see a lot of certainly would see a lot of children that have sort of muscle issues because they're just looking at screens all the time. We would probably one of the things that we would notice hugely would be that we would sell a huge amount of dry eye products, like eye drops, aftercare. We number of years, 2 or 3 years ago, we started to specialise in dry eye, and a lot of optometrists throughout Northern Ireland would specialise in dry eye. So, and that is as a result of iPhones, iPads.
Gosh. So we're not going to see a massive big compensation claim in a few years' time?
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's just that, I think it's very important that, parents are aware that children need to be outside playing as much as possible, that to get their eyes away from screens whenever they can.
And can dry eye improve?
Well,
or once you have
one of the reasons why we do have dry eye is basically we're not blinking enough. Children aren't blinking enough.
Gosh.
Adults as well. Adults as well.
Adults as well.
We're all on our screens all the
7,
time.
8 hours a day, and it's a wee bit. And also as well, Jack had spoke about it earlier. Different things coming in for short-sightedness, and one of the reasons why we have young people becoming short-sighted is because of screens. It's going to be like a myopia pandemic or short-sighted pandemic.
Oh my goodness, are you listening to this, everybody? Yeah. Step away from the screens and the phone and get out in the fresh air and blink.
Yeah. And another thing with regards to change, and I can only go from my relatively short time within Lee's is that we do get a lot more so because of the visual stress clinic. It's advanced the business in that I think Dad's seen people booking in for appointments from 11 different countries, the furthest being Dubai.
No, we've had somebody from Canada, somebody from the States, and we've had somebody from, believe it or not, Turkey. So,
and these are people who are now living in Northern Ireland, or
no, they probably all have had connections with relatives in Ireland.
Goodness,
but they've come over especially. So,
really,
yeah.
My goodness, the reach has been incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, there's a need there.
Yeah.
So can you not patent that or copyright that or something?
Yeah. No, it's just if you do, it's something that I feel very passionately, that education and our own profession need to communicate better. So.
Well, you've got that real sense of that you're making a difference and that you can make a difference, and that's really lovely when you have that at the core of everything that you do. What do you do in your spare time then? Do you hang out together, or do you get as far away from each other as possible?
we play, both members of 1 Point Golf Club.
Lovely.
So, well, Mum retired as a teacher in June, so Mum's basically become a full-time golfer, and Dad's got more into the golf. Well, Dad's always played golf, but him and Mum would play on a Monday. I'm off now on a Monday, so I'm joining. But no, we play golf even on holiday, so we're away together.
You'll have a bit more time to golf, Michael.
Yeah, well, I suppose I would, play golf okay, walk a bit, swim a bit, so you'd probably like to do a little bit of travel as well too, as but
absolutely, especially because we were locked down for so long, and then you feel the need to fly a little bit. What would you say have been the biggest lessons for you over the years? The highs and the lows. What have you found the most challenging part of running your own business and doing the work that you do?
I think it's very difficult for a small business to compete when there are so many things that have to be checked. HR is one of them. Sort of treating staff properly, knowing what to do, following procedures. It's very, very difficult for a small business to compete against a multiple. So they have people that are doing things for them. So that's the thing that I personally have found challenging, and found it very sort of, that end of the business very sort of tiring. I do still love the day-to-day business dealing with. I like working with people, and certainly like my own personal dealings with the children that I work with School Vision. But it's very the actual optical job itself, whether you're optometrist, dispensing optician, it's a very rewarding job.
Well, I suppose when you are a small business, it is difficult if you don't have certain skills in other places that can just bring people in. But is that the secret? Do you always bring people in to do jobs that you don't do, and you get better people into your organisation? Is that something you see?
Yeah, I think definitely in terms of the marketing and digital marketing now, like it's I helped start our social media pages, and but even social media now has gone a different level. And
does it work though?
It definitely does. But we're lucky. We're very lucky. Hannah, my youngest sister, would be in on a Saturday morning helping reception, but during the week she's scheduling posts, and
I'm sure the Instagram is very popular. It's so visual.
Yeah, and that's, and have to shout out as well for Nicole, who is our lab technician in work. She, part of her role is creating the content, so all the images are done by Nicole, which the lighting's so important.
Absolutely. Has to look professional.
Yeah, so, but like between Hannah and Nicole, and we have actually a cousin of mine, then Richard, who overlooks both of them. With regards to marketing, I think they've brought it to a new level now.
Well, Jack and Michael, the purpose of this podcast is to inspire existing business owners and ambitious entrepreneurs to grow their business by offering insight into the success of businesses such as Lee Opticians. This is the question I ask everyone at the end. So what advice would you give to people who may have a business idea but have no idea where to begin or are unsure as to whether the risk is worth taking? Jack?
I would, have the confidence to go with it. Believe in yourself. Get as much advice, from whatever channels as possible. Be it if you've had part-time jobs before, look at the role of the manager or the owner and see what they're doing to be successful. And also things like if you happen to be on committees, there might be people on committees that can lend good advice. So definitely don't put it to one side, and have the confidence to look into it and believe in yourself.
Okay. And then Michael, same question to you, because you obviously took a risk way back when you decided to become a partner, but then you took on the business on your own. That was a risk.
Yes, it was. I think if I was given advice to anybody, it would be to give the business time. I think you really need to give any new business 2 years at least. There are a lot of, you see businesses open and within sort of 6 months or a year they close. Mm-hmm. And very often it's, it just takes a little bit of time for people to know who you are, to get a feel for your business, what you're doing, and to know that you're going to be sort of maybe adding a service, that would be my opinion, would be just to give it a bit more time.
So when you're giving it time, are you adjusting and tweaking it during that time, or do you stick to your guns?
No, absolutely. But I think if you have a project or if you have an idea and you believe in it, just give it time.
Hang in there.
Hang in there, yeah. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I think people are too quick to give up, mm-hmm. and you just have to be a little bit stubborn.
2 years at least, a bit stubborn, and hang in there. Great advice to end the Public Eye podcast. Enjoy the next chapter, Michael, whatever that brings. Keep up the great work. And Jack, good luck with Lee's Opticians. No plans to change the name for the future. Thank you so much to Michael and Jack for joining me today. Joining me next time on the Public Eye podcast, I'll be talking to Managing Director of Mitso Marketing, Maeve Finnegan. This podcast was recorded in Granite Podcast Studio. Interested in starting up your own podcast but don't know how? Granite Podcast Studio can help. Record your podcast in our state-of-the-art studio, which is based in the heart of Newry City. Our studio has cutting-edge and user-friendly technology and can seat up to 4 people. We also provide an editing service, for our team using your guidance and editing notes to provide you with a flawless finished product, leaving your listeners wanting more. For more information on how you can get started, visit www.granitepodcaststudio.com.